discussing antiviral drugs. Right. So viruses as such are intracellular organisms. They will invade your cell. They should not normally be present inside a human's body, and they will depend on the host. They're specifically a parasite. So they will depend on the host for food, for growth, and for multiplication. Okay. As such, if it is present outside the body of a host, it can be human, it can be a plant, or some other organism. Viruses will not survive for a very long period of time, and even if they are surviving, it will not be a favorable condition for them to survive in. In this case, if it is affecting a human, there are a few drugs that can be used. Such antiviral drugs are not used very often because of their very what significant side effects, but sometimes you will have to use in special diseases and all. Now, coming to classification of antiviral drugs, the first class will be anti-herpes drugs. Now, herpes virus itself includes almost 8 different types of viruses. You have HSV1, HSV2, varicella zoster, Ebola, Epstein-Barr virus, cytomegalovirus, VZV, EBV, CMV, वो पूरे. Varicella zoster is VZV, Epstein-Barr is EBV, and cytomegalovirus is CMV. We have human herpes virus 6, उसको HHV बोलते हैं. HHV6, HHV7. There is a Kaposi sarcoma virus, okay, which is associated with herpes virus, that is called KSV. So anyway, there are a number of herpes viruses. The drugs that we'll discuss specifically will work very well on herpes virus type 1 and type 2. Okay, so anti-herpes drugs may or anti-herpes viral drugs may herpes virus drugs. We'll have acyclovir, valacyclovir, then there is ganciclovir and foscarnet. Okay, 4 are enough. There are more. These 4 are enough for you to memorize. Now, coming to the first drug, acyclovir. Acyclovir kya hai? This drug is kind of like a prodrug. Okay, the mechanism of action of the drug will be that it gets converted in your body. First of all, once acyclovir enters your body, mechanism of action, acyclovir gets converted into acyclotriphosphate. Okay, that is the first step. Once acyclovir is entering a cell, any cell, it will get converted into acyclotriphosphate. Okay, this acyclotriphosphate, here I'm talking about cells which are infected with viruses. I will tell you in a minute how viruses infect in general. Okay, though each virus has a different mechanism, viruses in general will have one particular way through which they will infect cells. I will tell that to you. Now, in any case, it is entering a cell which is affected by virus and it is getting converted into acyclotriphosphate. This acyclotriphosphate decreases viral DNA synthesis. Okay. If viral DNA synthesis does not occur, proteins are not formed, division does not occur. Basically, DNA lengthening is inhibited. The DNA would not elongate. The DNA has to elongate for it to be translated and be formed into proteins. It also inhibits DNA polymerase. So DNA molecules will not be able to replicate. If a virus wants to make new virions, if it wants to replicate, it has to make several copies of its own DNA. In that sense, acyclovir will inhibit both of that. It will inhibit DNA polymerase by which DNA cannot divide, and it will decrease DNA synthesis. So in this case, decreasing new DNA synthesis. Okay. As such, the result will be that DNA lengthening will not occur and DNA chain termination will occur. The chain of DNA will stop. Okay, giving you the antiviral effect. Now, one important point about acyclovir is that it is only effective against herpes simplex virus. It will not work on CMV. CMV does not respond well to this. So, works only on HSV. You can use it in VZV. You can use it on VZV. You can use it on VZV is varicella zoster virus. You can use it in Epstein-Barr virus (EBV), but what do you call this thing? CMV does not respond, or cytomegalovirus does not respond. Now, as such, coming to the PK of the drug, the absorption of acyclovir is very, very poor. Okay, so only around 20% of the drug gets absorbed. Okay, poor absorption. All right. It will get distributed into CSF and aqueous humor very well. So if a patient has viral infection where the virus has invaded the CNS or it has invaded into the eye of a patient, at that time you can use this drug, very helpful. Uh, it will get excreted unchanged, meaning it is not undergoing metabolism. Excreted unchanged in urine. Okay. T half is around 2 to 3 hours. 2 to 3 hours, not very long. Now, specific adverse effects related to acyclovir will include, let's write ADE here. We have nausea, vomiting, the patient will have malaise, the patient might have headache, rashes, headache, rashes. Sometimes if you apply a cream of acyclovir topically, the patient might complain of stinging and burning sensation. Wherever you apply it topically, the patient might have stinging and burning sensation over that area. All right. If you give IV of acyclovir, it might cause renal toxicity. Okay. As such, it is better to decrease the dose in renal impairment. Acyclovir is one such drug where you will have to decrease the dose in case of renal impairment. Right. It sometimes can also cause neurotoxicity. As such, it is very effective in case of chickenpox because of varicella zoster virus. You can use it in HSV1 infections, where HSV1 infections will present as mouth infection or face infection, skin, esophagus, brain, ये पूरे होते हैं. HSV2 will affect genitals, rectum, skin, hands, meninges, वो पूरों को affect करता. तो in both of these cases, acyclovir is very useful. If you give a very high dose of acyclovir, one problem is that it will cause hallucinations, tremors, and disorientation. Okay, high doses will cause hallucinations, tremors, and disorientation. Disorientation meaning the patient will not be able to orient themselves properly. They will not be able to direct themselves properly. Okay, let's suppose you want to get up and go to the kitchen and drink a glass of water. You need to know what direction you need to walk towards, right? That orientation is lost in these patients. Okay, because of neurotoxicity at higher doses, this will happen. Now, as such, this drug is not used in children. Okay, it's not recommended in children. Acyclovir. Now, coming to this thing, one general viral replication that I had to tell you, I forgot about that initially. Let's suppose this is one normal cell in your body. Oh dear, one second. Let's suppose this is a normal cell in your body. Okay. Now, what the virus does is its life cycle inside your body can be divided into a few stages. So the first thing it will do, so let's suppose this is the virus and this is the outer coating and this is the DNA or the genetic material. Okay. This is the outer coating of that virus. Now, as such, what happens is the first thing the virus does is it will bind. So that step will be called binding. When the virus has entered into your body, it will enter systemic circulation and it will roam around in your body before targeting one particular cell. Once it has found that target cell, it will come here and it will bind to that particular part of the body. Once it has bound to that cell, it will uncoat. Okay, so this binding will occur. It will enter into the patient's cell. So through here it will enter. So this step is entry. Okay. Once it is entering, it will completely uncoat, meaning what will happen is genetic material will come out. Okay. I'm leaving one blank so that this genetic material is able to come into the cytoplasm. So just to reiterate, there is a virus that is coming into the patient's body. They are getting transmitted by some virus, so either respiratory way or through what do you call injection or any other way. It is getting transmitted to a patient. यहाँ पर this virus, first of all, it will bind to a susceptible cell. It will bind to any cell actually. Once it is bound to that cell, it will enter into the cell, and after entering, it will uncoat itself. Okay, uncoating occurs. Now, this genetic material generally tends to be RNA. Okay. Now, this अगर RNA कभी RNA रहता कभी DNA रहता, both single stranded and double stranded. Okay, depending on different viruses, you will have different types of genetic material. In herpes virus itself, we if you remember, we discussed about herpes. There were several types. Your HBV was DNA virus, the rest were RNA virus. That too, the rest were ssRNA, this one was dsDNA. Like that, you can have a lot of variation in the viruses as well. Depending on that, genetic material will be different. So this can be either RNA or DNA, but mostly it is RNA. Okay. Comparatively fewer viruses will have DNA. In any case, once it has come out of its shell, this genetic material will try to integrate into the human's genetic material. So what this fellow's goal will be that, let's suppose this is the nucleus of the cell. It will try to enter the nucleus and it will try to bind into the DNA of the human. Okay, let's suppose this is the DNA of that human. ठीक है, प्लीज एक्सक्यूज द हॉरिबल डायग्राम. यहाँ पर ये आपका डीएनए, ह्यूमन डीएनए. ओके, now this RNA or the genetic material of the virus, it is basically trying to attach into the human DNA so that it can make copies of itself. ठीक है, what it will do is, अब अगर RNA रहा virus का, there will be a special enzyme and that enzyme will convert this RNA into DNA. ठीक है, reverse transcriptase बोलते हैं वो enzyme को. It will be present in retroviruses and some other viruses, but anyway, that enzyme will be able to convert RNA into DNA. That DNA, newly formed DNA, will be able to attach into the human DNA. This is when the virus has RNA as its genetic material. Agar the RNA has DNA as its genetic material, it will directly come and attach into the host's DNA material. In any case, यहाँ पर आके, let's suppose this is the new genetic material of the virus. Okay, it came and attached. Now, whenever this cell undergoes mitosis, okay, or whenever this cell is, even if it does not undergo mitosis, this new DNA or this new what do you call viral DNA specifically will start forming proteins. Okay, it will start making a lot of proteins. Let's suppose these are proteins. These proteins are specifically viral components. It will start making viral capsule, it will start making viral cell organelles and viral components. The result is that you will have a lot of, let's suppose you will have a lot of new viral DNA being formed, and you will have a lot of these components being formed. Let's suppose these are capsules. Once this raw material is formed, you can assemble this and this. Okay, if you add this plus this, you'll be able to form a new virus. These are virions. Okay, I'll explain once again. Listen carefully. Whenever a virus, this is a virus. Okay, so let's suppose this is a virus which is entering a patient through some mode of transmission. It will bind to the susceptible cell, it will enter into the cell and it will uncoat, meaning genetic material of that virus will come out. If it is RNA, it will get converted into DNA. If it is only DNA, if it is directly DNA, it will get integrated into the human's DNA. Once it has integrated, it will start translating and transcripting, because of which viral proteins will be formed and viral DNA will be formed now. That viral capsule, viral components, and viral DNA will combine with each other and form virions. These are daughter virions. Okay? These virions will later on come out by budding. Okay? They will assemble. This stage is called assembly, and it will come out by budding. It will bud out of the cell. Okay. Sometimes if the virus is very potent, it will kill the mother cell itself. There will be so many virions being formed that it will literally cause the rupture of that cell. Okay, sometimes. Commonly seen in herpes virus, but the virus also show that. That is how this thing works. Budding and release भी बोलते हैं इसको, ये last stage को. Now antivirals work on different steps. Okay, some of them will work on entry, some of them will work on uncoating, some of them will inhibit assembly, or some of them will work on some other part. ठीक है. These are the general ways through which antivirals work. अपना acyclovir जो है, it will inhibit DNA synthesis. Okay, what I just discussed, it will inhibit this step. It will not let that DNA, viral DNA, replicate itself and form viral components and viral DNA, new viral DNA, so that assembly will not occur. Hence, no budding and release. No new virions are formed. Infection is stopped. Okay, giving you the antiviral effect. Okay, I hope you understood this. If you have doubts, please let me know, or else we'll move into the other drugs. Okay. Now coming to the next class. Okay, the first class was anti-herpes virus agents, in which acyclovir, ganciclovir, valacyclovir वो पूरे थे. I discussed acyclovir. Now coming to the next one, anti-influenza drugs. Now influenza virus is divided into two main categories. There is influenza A and influenza B. Okay, the drugs as such will be four main drugs: amantadine, rimantadine, oseltamivir, and zanamivir. Okay, now first of all we'll discuss amantadine and rimantadine. दोनों का mechanism of action same रहता. The mechanism of action of these two drugs is that it will prevent uncoating and assembly. So it will not let the virus uncoat, and if there is already uncoated virus, if there is a cell which already has the DNA incorporated into the nucleus, it will not let daughter virions assemble. Okay, so this is working on two different steps. So mechanism of action, it acts on and prevents two steps, that is uncoating and assembly. इन लोगों को early step and late step भी बोलते हैं. In some textbooks you will find that they are working on early step, which is uncoating, and late step, which is assembly. Means the same. ठीक है, of viral replication. Meaning no new viruses are found, you will be able to control the viral infection. Okay, now specifically coming to PK of the drugs, pharmacokinetics, these are absorbed well orally. Oral absorption is good. They get excreted unchanged, meaning these are also not undergoing this thing. Okay, they are not undergoing metabolism. Excreted unchanged in urine over 2 to 3 days. Okay, it'll take a long time for the whole drug to get excreted altogether. T half is also significantly longer. T half is around 16 hours. Okay, it will stay in your body for a long period of time. That is why excretion is over 2 to 3 days. Now, as such, it is well tolerated, but it has some very specific contraindications. Okay, first of all, coming to ADRs. ADR, adverse drug reaction, ADE, adverse drug event. थोड़े textbook में ADR देते, थोड़े textbooks में ADE देते. Either way, it refers to the same thing. It will cause nausea, vomiting, it can cause dizziness, it will have several neurological functions, specifically neuropsychiatric side effects. The patient might have nightmares, they will have insomnia, ankle edema. Now, amantadine and rimantadine, they will cause local vasoconstriction. That is why ankle edema occurs in such patients, and anorexia. Okay, so these are all the effects or side effects of amantadine and rimantadine. Contraindications, contraindications. You should absolutely not give them in patients who are epileptics. Epilepsy, आप लोगों को अपन लोगों epilepsy cover कर दिया ना. Epilepsy is basically seizures plus convulsions, right? The patient will have uncontrolled seizures along with convulsions in their body. ठीक है? Their neurons will be firing, misfiring specifically. Okay? Epilepsy में नहीं दे सकते. Other CNS disorders. So if they have any other central nervous system disorders or diseases, along में नहीं दे सकते. You cannot give it in psychiatric patients. You cannot give it in gastric ulcer and pregnancy. So if you have a patient who is suffering from, or who is currently pregnant, or they have a gastric ulcer, or they have epilepsy, or they have any other CNS effect, please avoid giving them amantadine and rimantadine. The reason it will have CNS effect is that this fellow is able to increase dopamine levels, especially amantadine. Okay, though you can use it to your advantage, there is one particular disease called Parkinsonism. Okay, I'm not sure whether we discussed about Parkinsonism or not, but Parkinsonism is a condition in which the patient will have, hey, yeah, you had anti-Parkinson's drug, right? So we did discuss about Parkinsonism a little bit. Parkinsonism, I'll just recall, Parkinsonism is a condition in which dopaminergic neurons in your nigrostriatal pathway will get destroyed. Okay, so there is decreased amount of dopamine in the patient, because of which increased acetylcholine level, acetylcholine effect will also occur near your globus pallidus, and you will have the consequences of low dopamine. Amantadine is a drug, it is antiviral as such, but you can also give it in Parkinsonism. That is the only antiviral drug that can be given in Parkinsonism, because it will increase dopamine levels. But if you have a normal patient, or if you have a patient who has epilepsy or who has other CNS diseases, in that it is completely contraindicated, because it will be disadvantageous in such situations. As such, amantadine and rimantadine are specifically used against influenza A. Okay, very useful against influenza A or against influenza B. Influenza B does not respond. Okay, is unaffected. Influenza B virus is unaffected. It will not respond to amantadine and rimantadine. Right, now coming to the next two drugs, we have oseltamivir and zanamivir. Oseltamivir actually became very popular during Ebola and Zika virus. Okay, it is used a lot during that time. Now, as such, the mechanism of action through which they work is they will inhibit a very important step in viral replication, which occurs on viral cell surface. There is an enzyme called neuroaminidase that is essential for release of the virions. Okay, these two drugs will inhibit that particular enzyme. So, mechanism of action, they inhibit neuroaminidase, okay, or neuraminidase enzyme. One second. Yeah, neuroaminidase enzyme, which is essential for release of daughter virions. Okay. Basically, it is inhibiting one step of multiplication, one step of propagation or replication of this virus. Right, both oseltamivir and zanamivir. Now, specifically, if you administer within a few hours of the symptoms, once viral infection occurs, and if you give it within a few hours itself, you will see a significant decline in clinical symptoms in the patient, especially with case of oseltamivir. Okay, try to administer it within 36 to 48 hours. Okay, 1.5 2 days after clinical symptoms are being shown. If you are able to give the patient oseltamivir or zanamivir, you will see actually quite a lot of improvement in the patient. Right. Now, oseltamivir is a prodrug. It will get converted inside your body. It is activated by liver. Because of that, you cannot give it in patients who are less than 1 year old. Okay. अगर oseltamivir gets converted into active form, okay, this conversion will occur through liver. Okay. So this is occurring in liver. Now, in children or infants specifically, liver is not properly developed, so they will not be able to convert oseltamivir in its active form. Because of that, oseltamivir toxicity can occur. Okay? So do not administer in patients less than 1 year old. Okay? Now you can use this in influenza, you can use this in H1N1 virus, very useful, both zanamivir and oseltamivir. Right? Now coming to other agents, there are some so this is the second class, anti-influenza drugs. Now there is another class called other agents. Other agents में आता आपका ribavirin, lamivudine, interferons. We'll discuss that. We have ribavirin, lamivudine, zidovudine भी इसके साथ ही आता. We have interferons. Okay, these three are compiled under other agents. Now the reason is because specifically if we talk about ribavirin is a very broad spectrum agent. इसका spectrum will include influenza A and B. It can work on RSV, respiratory syncytial virus. Okay, it will work on other DNA and RNA viruses, especially double-stranded RNA viruses. Okay, so it has a very wide spectrum, because of which ribavirin tends to be very useful as such. One problem is that it is teratogenic, so completely avoid it in pregnant women. Teratogenic. Okay. Now the mechanism of action through which ribavirin works, though it is not completely understood, what we do know is that it will inhibit GTP and viral RNA synthesis. The MO is kind of obscure. We do not know completely how it is working. What we do know is that it will inhibit viral GTP synthesis. GTP is another form of ATP, or you can tell it is another form of energy. Okay, and viral RNA synthesis, because of which the virus is not able to survive for a long period of time, leading to the death of the virus. All right. Now, as such, when you're giving this for RSV, now RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, generally occurs in children. Okay, it will cause bronchitis in children. तो उसमें क्या करते हैं, ribavirin का you will give it as a aerosol. You will nebulize the drug. One thing you need to remember is that whenever you are nebulizing the drug, when you're giving aerosol of what do you call aerosol of ribavirin in RSV bronchitis, in such patients, do not combine it with any other drug. Okay, ribavirin should be nebulized solo. Do not combine with any other drug. You can treat severe influenza, you can treat measles, especially in case of immunocompromised patients. Generally you will give around 200 mg 4 times a day of ribavirin. अगर children है बोला तो 10 mg per kg per day in divided doses if needed. Okay. Another important thing is that do not give it in if creatinine clearance is less than 50 ml per minute. Do not give if creatinine clearance is less than 50 ml per minute. Creatinine clearance can be taken concurrently with GFR. Generally, in a patient who has low GFR will have a low what do you call this thing? क्या बोलते हैं will have a low creatinine clearance. Creatinine is a byproduct or metabolic product of muscle synthesis and muscle metabolism. In that case, creatine is converted into creatinine. Now, creatinine generally is excreted out of your body through urine. अगर एक patient का creatinine clearance is very low, two things will happen. Generally, it will indicate that their GFR is very low, glomerular filtration rate, and it will also indicate that it will also be seen as serum creatinine levels increasing. Okay? That is when you can understand that kidney is not functioning properly. So avoid giving ribavirin in such patients. Also about this thing, acyclovir, there will be dose dependent decrease in the drug if क्या बोलते हैं GFR is decreasing. अगर GFR कम होते गया तो dose should also be decreased for acyclovir. So, ribavirin should completely be stopped if the what you call creatinine clearance goes below 50 ml per minute, and if GFR also decreases significantly, stop it. Okay, stop the drug, giving the drug. Now, specifically coming to PK of the drug, this drug will accumulate inside the body of a patient for a long period of time. Even after you stop giving the drug, it will go on for a very, very long period of time, almost months together. Bioavailability of the drug is around 50%. So even if it is absorbed somewhat well, bioavailability will only be around 50%. Okay, we'll discuss about the other drugs tomorrow. A little bit of time left.